Welcome everybody, and thank you for tuning in. Today I am delighted to welcome Richard van der Blom, who I've known feels like forever, but actually this is the first time we're having a physical conversation per se. It was meant to be a physical conversation when Richard was due to be flying over to London with a client before the world imploded. And Richard, it's a delight. Welcome.
The feeling is mutual, Alex. It's yeah, like you stated, it's really bizarre how long we have been in contact, and actually, I agree. This is the first time we meet virtually.
Although I certainly feel like I know you. And for the audience that don't know Richard, well, you should know Richard because he is one of the few on LinkedIn who I follow and trust implicitly in terms of the research that he puts out there, because it is independent. And Richard, like me, is an expert in all things social and digital and social selling and everything surrounding that. But what he also does is through his own research and working with the Open University and a few tech companies, tries to uncover the mysteries of the LinkedIn algorithm, the nefarious LinkedIn algorithm in terms of what works and what doesn't work. So, without further ado, Richard, over to you. Let's give a high-level overview of the LinkedIn algorithm just generally, and your experience over the years, and then what your research is showing kind of right now, and then let's see where this takes us.
Yeah, cool. Thank you, Alex, for the intro. It was, I think, about 4 or 5 years ago. I've been on LinkedIn. I don't know. I've been on LinkedIn since 2005. I saw a massive increase in people starting to post 2014, 2015, and then our timeline exploded with all kind of content, relevant, less relevant, and especially the last 3 years. People are complaining about LinkedIn becoming the new Facebook. We see cat movies, we see all kind of family pictures. And what intrigued me the most was, I remember it was about 3 years ago, I have written a report about social selling. And I myself, I was really glad with this report. I thought it was a masterpiece of content. And I put it on LinkedIn, and I saw it didn't took off. And I got, I think, about 3,500 views, which was not particularly good. So I felt a bit distressed, and then at the same moment I clicked on my timeline and I see somebody I know very well who has just made a picture of his salad during lunch, and I saw this got a massive amount of comments. So I messaged a guy and said, how many views you got? And he goes like, oh, I don't know, about 20,000 now. And I go, what happens here? We have the people that provide, as you, the in-depth content where people can take a lot of value, and we have people who just share. I don't say it has no value, but it's not in-depth.
Yeah.
And this takes off. So at that moment I thought, okay, what's behind the system? What is the effect of people liking, sharing about a personal profile, about the topic? And then it was about 2 years ago, I got into contact with somebody of the University of Statistics, and he said, let's do a mutual research, because I have some students, they need a certain kind of project. And if you can provide us with all kind of questions with regards to LinkedIn, then, we can do what we can try and to do some research. And this resulted in my first research, which was published, I think, August last year. And which has a massive impact on a lot of people. I can't recall exactly, and didn't make any print screens, but I think the post hit about 600,000 views. I had about 12,000 downloads. But most importantly, I use this research as well with my in-company clients. And one of them was TomTom, Webfleet Solutions, from the navigation systems.
Mm-hmm.
And they started to implement all the learnings on the way how they use their company profile. And they got an increasement in conversion and increasement in engagement with 4 or 5 times as before. And this was one of the first companies that actually came back to me and said, hey, this is working.
Yeah.
And within a month, I got from all kind of parts of the globe, I got response with, hey, it works. I get more engagement, I get more visibility, I get more profile views, just actually because you obey the rules. Now, some people, they think just by following the rules, that even your shitty content will go viral. So I have also people complaining and say, yeah, I have put in 3 hashtags, I've done this, and it doesn't work. And then I take a look at the content, and it's shitty content. So yes, I think understanding a bit of the algorithm has added value, but let's be honest, and you know this, your content needs to provide value. Okay, your content needs to provide insight. It needs to stand out from the crowd, because then your target audience is going to respond. And then this year we did the same. It took us some longer time because there were some changes and we had some hiccups with the project team. So last Monday I released the research, and there were some changes. There were some confirmation of what we saw already last year. But again, I think it's great to have an insight, because if you play a game and you know the rules, regardless if you play it by the rules or if you make your own rules, but just knowing the general rules will have a positive impact on how you engage and how you create awareness for your company or your products or your services on LinkedIn.
Indeed. And let's just caveat that this is independent from LinkedIn, and LinkedIn never confirm or deny any of the research that is put out there by anybody in terms of how any of this this works. So this is done through your own blood, sweat, and tears, and just passion for helping people on the platform.
Yeah, that's correct. However, last year they didn't, but this year I got, because as you probably, I think you probably also have a broad connection base within LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I have them as well, both in San Francisco, Dublin, in the Benelux. And I have had about 6-7 messages from people in social selling solutions who said me, thanks for your report. We are going to share it with our clients, so they can, see the difference and they can improve their results, because, it's a win-win situation if they provide it to their clients. And so this, and also a product development manager from Sales Navigator in San Francisco said, this is a really great piece of work. I'm going to share this within my team. I'm going to share this with some clients. So yeah, I think people acknowledge that. That it has added value.
Absolutely. I mean, I've literally just forwarded your link to all my clients on email. I'm right. You need to, if you want to understand this, this is what Richard's done. He is the expert. Just, everything I've been saying is now backed up by science that Richard's done. So here, here's the guideline. We'll put the link to your reports in this podcast and this vlog as well. So let's start getting into this a bit in terms of what some of the rules, and for those that are listening, I'm doing inverted commas. Let's start with hashtags then. You say use between 3 and 9 hashtags for optimal results. So let's unpack that a bit. So firstly, what are hashtags? For those of you who are listening who don't understand hashtags or what hashtags are, or the fact that LinkedIn actually now uses them, sometimes I get that. People don't even know that hashtags are a thing on LinkedIn. How does a hashtag work from a LinkedIn perspective?
Well, if you use hashtags, so with a hashtag in front of it, it becomes clickable. And it will bring you to a timeline centered about the topic of the hashtag. So, for example, if I use the hashtag, let's say, algorithm, and people click on hashtag algorithm, they will see a feed where it no longer shows them messages or updates from the connections and from the companies they follow. No, it will show them a global feed of all people and companies that are using the same hashtag. So I think the use of hashtags, especially to look up relevant information, is underestimated by a lot of people.
Yeah, I agree.
Because people are staring at their timeline and saying it doesn't provide any value because people are talking about things that are not of my interest. And in my trainings, I don't know about your trainings, I always say people, okay, find the 10 most important topics, find the 10 most important words, save the hashtags, and once a week, click on the hashtag to see who's discussing this topic, who is looking for your contribution, for your knowledge, because it will normally bring you much more relevant discussion than just staring at your own timeline.
Indeed.
Another thing, I don't know if you have it. I think you have it. I have a personalized hashtag, LinkedIn by Richard van der Blom.
Yeah.
and people think it's like a vanity hashtag, which is not. No, actually people thought, oh, he has his own hashtag, must be a vanity. No, it's not. But I have people messaging me and say, hey, all the posts you share are spot on, but I simply won't see them in my timeline because of the algorithm, because of the moment I post. So what I did, I created my own hashtag. Every post that has a tip or new insight, I label it by using the hashtag. And I say, people, just follow the hashtag. And whenever you feel like it, press the hashtag and you can see all my posts with all the tips. So it's actually more like a service. And I also use it whenever I connect with people. If people reach out to me and say, Richard, we want to connect with you because you share valuable insights, I go like, thank you, we are connected, but follow the hashtag. So I grow my hashtag with all the people that reach out to me to connect.
Yeah, no, I agree. So yeah, hashtag Ask Alex is the one that I primarily use for my stuff. And you're right. And I know that some large organizations I work with, their marketing teams just create their own hashtag, not because they're trying to get people to, just so they can see what's happening and all the noise in terms of out. They go, right, that's what the team have shared or haven't shared, because of that we know that hashtag is unique to us and our particular business unit within the company. So also your research then shows that we've now, because it was kind of people were saying 3 was the optimum number. Now we're kind of saying between 3 and 9 per post to kind of give you that visibility.
Yeah.
What I was interested to see is though that your research shows that the hashtag followers get priority over your own network. Have I understood that correctly?
Or your own followers. So if somebody who is not connected with me chooses to follow me, okay, or he chooses to follow my hashtag, LinkedIn will show more earlier the hashtag in his feed than my post because he's a follower. So you have actually the sequences, your connections get prioritized, then the followers of a hashtag, and then the followers of a person.
Okay.
So
So that's an interesting one, because I encourage people to follow me rather than try and connect with me, because I'm not bothered. I don't care about getting 30,000 connections. I think that's a complete waste of time. But so there's a balance. There's a bit of a trade-off then between converting people to followers, but then it's the hashtag. But then I'm happy for people to follow me, and the reason I have that set is because there's a large proportion of people who do follow me. Great, if they want to see my content, that's awesome. But with the greatest respect of the world, them being in my network is not much use to me in terms of what I'm trying to achieve. And the other thing which I think is useful, I'm learning from this as well, is that trying to find hashtags that have got, I think you say, over 100,000 plus followers. Yeah. What if the industry that you're in, is relatively, this is growing for them, and there aren't hashtags that have got over 100,000 followers, just because there aren't just any many people following that hashtag, because that is an industry that's maybe less digital, less social.
Could be. I think, even the hashtag law practice or law has more than 100,000 followers. Okay. And the hashtag accountancy has millions of followers. Yeah. So I don't think there are a lot of industries that cannot find a simple hashtag that could drive a lot of traffic to their posts. Yeah. But if you can't find them, obviously it's no use to use irrelevant hashtag just to get followers, because then people who follow the irrelevant hashtag find your post and it's not relevant to them. So I'll guess just stick to the relevant keywords that are relevant for your post. Yeah. Identify hashtags with a lot of followers, and also mix them with like your own company hashtag or your own personal hashtag, or some really specific hashtags, because we have seen posts that only have like the large hashtags like hashtag marketing, hashtag sales, hashtag LinkedIn. They do not perform as well as the same post with the 3 hashtags, but also added some specific hashtags. Right. I don't know what's behind it. I don't know. It intrigues me, but I don't know. The same that last year we had 3 hashtags, and after 3 hashtags we could see a severe drop in views. And the only thing that has been confirmed by someone of LinkedIn last year was the hashtags. We had the vice president of sales in a congress, I can't remember his name, who said it: use 3 hashtags on LinkedIn, do not use more. So and now we have seen that somewhere between 3 and 9, you have the same views, and if you start using more, then it drops. My personal thought is that there has been a rumor that as from next year, second quarter of the year, it would be possible for a marketing team to create a campaign based on the followers of hashtag. So I could create a marketing campaign and I could target the hashtag followers of law practice, for example.
Okay.
If that's true, then it's in the best interest of LinkedIn to have a large database of hashtags and followers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So then it makes sense that LinkedIn now says, okay, with 3 hashtags, we are not filling this database, rapid enough, fast enough. So now let's extend the use of hashtags to 9 without harming the post, because then people are starting to use more hashtags, and we build our database more faster. So that's my personal thought. It hasn't been confirmed by LinkedIn. It will not be confirmed by LinkedIn, but it makes sense to me because it would be great to be able to target an update on followers of a specific hashtag. Yeah,
100%. I think that would, and I think that's the biggest thing at the moment. I completely agree with you. You can't actually interrogate hashtags at the moment.
No.
Other than and Andy Foote, who mutual friend of ours, painstakingly does this with with his list, but that's manual, which is insane. And LinkedIn has to have that data behind the scenes in terms of hashtag number of followers in a spreadsheet somewhere, right? Can't be difficult.
No, exactly. And silly thing is, I have 2 law firms in Holland, big law firms as clients. And then if you look at the post, they use like advocatuur, which is a Dutch word for law. And they have like 3,000 followers. And I say, okay, if you use law practice or law, I can't recall, it's massive.
Yeah.
But then they say, okay, but if I select law practice, I get all the feeds from globally about law, but they are only interested in Holland, but they cannot filter hashtag law on geography Holland, which LinkedIn has this data. Yeah. They have it. And if they would make it like available to the members, then it would have a massive impact.
It would do, but I don't doubt they'll probably monetize it through their marketing platform. I mean, that would be if I were LinkedIn, that would be the obvious route to go, right?
Of course,
you've got to pay for it. Yep. So, dwell time. Everyone gets now excited about dwell time.
Yeah.
So let's break this down. What is dwell time?
Well, interesting enough, I wasn't too enthusiastic when I first heard about dwell time, because dwell time measures 2 things. It measures the amount of time people stay on your post in the screen. So imagine you having a lot of white lines, and then at the bottom of your post, then people need to look, and as long as they're looking, it builds dwell time. So I wasn't that glad. And then I can't remember why I read it, but it seems that 80%, so 80% of all LinkedIn users, and we're currently just above 700 million. So this means 560 million people, they never engage on a post. They just don't press like, they don't press comment, they don't press share. They just, either they are not inactive or they're inactive, but half of them, so we're talking still about 300 million people, they do consume content, they read it, but they just won't engage because they don't feel comfortable, they don't want to, they don't want other people to see what they're reading. And if you look at that, and if you go back to like last year, then almost the complete algorithm was built on 20% of the people that are engaging. While, of course, if people read my stuff or your stuff, and they take great value from it, they just read and they don't click the button, and it makes sense now with dwell time to implement it in the algorithm. Because especially with articles, documents, videos, if I watch your video, for example, like I did last time, 2 minutes, I stay on the post for 2 minutes, and it makes perfectly sense that LinkedIn rewards your posts with more views because you caught my attention for 2 minutes. And if you're just scrolling, it doesn't make sense, because if you scroll to your feed, all the posts that come by get a +1 on views, but it doesn't make sense because I didn't view your post. It just
scroll,
exactly. So and I think this is backed up by the research, where you can see that documents are getting more views, videos, because those are the rich media, people stay on your posts. And my thought about the external link, because you can see that even external links, which were punished by the algorithm last year, they'll go up now. And I think if people press an external link and you transfer them in a new tab to your website, your post on LinkedIn still stays in their screen on a tab.
Ah, right, Kay. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah,
But it makes sense.
Yeah, of
It
course,
makes sense.
logically. Yeah.
And then you're on the website for like 1-2 minutes.
Yeah,
and then you think,
yeah.
nah, it's not good. You close the website, you go back to LinkedIn, and then you start scrolling again. But you have been on the post for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So that this could be a perfect explanation why dwell time now,
Yeah.
we see an improvement of external links.
Okay, I hadn't felt that makes perfect, because you're right. You do, it opens a new tab. You're there. Well, that's a bit uninteresting. Back in, but there's
Exactly.
I see lots of people now stacking there.
Yeah.
The link with like a 10-minute video or something to
Exactly.
put YouTube links in. No, don't put YouTube links in. We'll come to
No.
that in a minute. So the next piece is the golden. Well, it's now the golden 2 hours. It was the golden hour.
Yeah.
So this is all around, and I'm starting this as I get, separate conversation, but this is where pods come in to try and game this. We'll do another thing on pods. But the key thing is when you share let's actually break down what happens. So you share a post.
Yep.
Then LinkedIn will put that to a defined, we believe, number of people in your first degree connections. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's a test panel.
How many do we know? Is it a percentage? Is it
percentage? It's a percentage based on we believe, and some people they say they doubt it, but we believe that I'm 100% sure that having an all-star profile, for example, increases your reach. And this makes sense because in order to get an all-star profile, you need to fill in 7 fields, and these are exactly the fields that LinkedIn uses the data to sell to job postings or to marketing people. So as a reward for you filling this data, you get more reach. This makes sense. But we have seen the correlation, it's also in our report, between a higher SSI score and a higher amount of views. So we believe it has something to do with your SSI score combined with All-Star. And then more or less, we have seen that some people we think are about 12 to 15% of their connections.
Okay.
As a test panel.
12 to 15% of your connections. Okay. Does it have to be, do we think there's a threshold in terms of they need to have at least 500 connections, at least 1,000 connections?
No, not at all. Okay. But obviously, if you have 500 connections and let's say you have 10%, then LinkedIn will show your post to 50 people. Yeah. Okay. Of course, there's a big difference because I'm currently having, I think about 12,000 connections.
Yeah.
So if I would reach 10%, then instead of 50, 1,200 people would see my post. It's obvious that there will be more engagement from these 1,200 than from these 50. Yeah. So it's another discussion, but if I have my training sessions and people talk about you need to have a qualitative network, only connect with people you have seen, blah, blah, blah. I say, no, it's not. It's quality and quantity combined, because the quantity eventually will bring you to the quality connections, because you need the quantity to get the word out. Yeah. That's important as well.
So it's it's now the first 2 hours, you believe from your research in terms of engagement, and what do we mean by engagement here?
Likes, comments, clicks on external links, presentations, videos, start videos. So all the clicks people could do actually on your profile, where we also have seen that in terms of views, in terms of spreading your posts, comment is a very big one. Comment is the most powerful one. It's far more powerful than a like or a click on a video or whatsoever.
Which I believe, and if you look at the recent, updates or announcements that LinkedIn have made in terms of how they're trying to make the platform more inclusive, become more of a community, drive the conversation, that then makes logical sense. And also the key thing, and I, with my clients to say this is, if someone comments on your post, if it's just a, thanks for sharing, then a nice like triggers it. But if someone asks you a question or engages in debate, respond to that comment and keep the conversation going, because the more you do that, the more the system thinks this is interesting, and then the circle of life continues.
Exactly. If people comment on your post, very simply, if people comment and you as an auto respond with another comment, you trigger both algorithms. You trigger the algorithm of yourself, you trigger the algorithm of the person who has commented. So the news is starting to spread in 2 separate networks. Yeah. And if you get 10 comments, you have your own network that has been triggered like 10 times, but you have 10 different networks where your post is also spread amongst their network.
Yeah.
So yeah, comment is still very helpful if you want to get, you know, more views. Interesting, because you mentioned pods, and LinkedIn is of course they hate pods. Like I hate pods. I see pods in my feed. I see news that is not as interesting I think it is in 10 minutes, and they get like 100 likes. And if I click on the likes, which I sometimes do, they're from all over the world. They're not relevant, and it's always the same people. So I think, because pods normally respond within 5 minutes, so they're in the first hour. So one of the reasons behind the extension to 2 hours could see that LinkedIn is currently working on, or they already have it done, is that they see, okay, the first hour is not as important, because we want to see what happens in the next hour, because there is the most genuine engagement.
Yeah, makes sense. What's your view then on so when, let's say, a company shares a post, or an employee shares a post, and then the company encourages everyone else in that same company to just like or comment on it, thanks for sharing, to try and game the system per se. Is the system just looking purely at the action, or is it looking at relationships between people?
No, it doesn't. To be honest, I had a training like a few weeks ago with Legrand, with the UK team. And I have like 4 or 5 modules of 2 hours, and one of the modules is centered around content. And we did a test, like I do with all my clients. And at the beginning of the training, I said to one of the guys, okay, who has something to post right now?
Yeah.
And one said, I have something to post about a new product. It's really innovative, and okay, so post it right now. And I asked the other 9 or 10 participants, okay, what we are going to do now, have a look at the profile of James, and we're all going to post a comment, okay? Yeah. And then I said to James, okay, James, we will give you a sign if all 10 have commented, myself included, and you just need to comment on every comment you get, okay?
Yeah.
So instantly, within 5 or 10 minutes, we built 10 comments, 10 responses, or 20 comments, okay? Yeah. Now, interesting enough, what I didn't know at the beginning, that James he had made a post, which he has also done exactly the same, a duplicate, from 4 weeks ago. 4 weeks ago, until now, he received 1,600 views. Yeah. Which was very disappointing for him, because he said, it's innovative, it's very big, and you know, just the word needs to get out. At the end of the session, mind you, 2 hours, he already had 3,500 views. So then, if you look from a commercial purpose, because it looks kind of silly, you know, 20 remarks, 20 from your own company, but have a look in your timeline, Alex. It says post, and then it says 18, 16, but it doesn't say who has commented. People need to click on the comments to see who has commented. Yeah. But if you see an interesting post which has a lot of comments, your interest goes to the post, to the content, not to who has commented. So I said, it doesn't matter if you do it with your own company. Okay. It's just necessary to spread the word, and then other people will see it popping up in their timeline. Yeah. So I think, yes, you can help each other in getting more reach. You can help each other and spread the word, but use it wisely, because if you would do this every time, the impact will stop at a certain point, because then people know that, you know, this company only shares, likes, comments on their own content.
On their own content.
Yeah,
that's what I thought you were going to say, but I just think like similar kind of experiences, and I also believe that LinkedIn rewards, if somebody hasn't done something for a while and then they suddenly do something like that, and then LinkedIn kind of rewards that person with lots of engagement, because like, hey, come back and do more of this, because we want your new eyeball, you and me. They know us. They're like, okay, what's Rich and Alex? So what? We kind of they're on there all the time. We don't really care about, don't really care about you. But a new eyeball, to your point, if they've got that proportion of people not engaging, the next time someone new and a new eyeball say, hey, well, we're going to give you that dopamine and give you that engagement. Hey, come back and do more of this. That's again something like, because my wife doesn't do that much at all, and it drives me insane. But every time she does something, she's like, wow, look at this. I'm like, I know.
Yeah.
Cool,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Totally agree.
So tagging is an interesting one. I use tagging. Yeah, I think tagging works, but I'd like, to your point, use it wisely. So what's tagging in simple terms?
Tagging is that that if you want to mention a person in your network, a client, a colleague, could be anybody, or a company.
Yeah.
You just put in, how is it called in English? Is the asterisk? No,
Sign,
it's
the at sign.
Yeah, the at sign. Then you start typing a name. LinkedIn will give you a drop down menu. You select the right person.
Yeah.
And then this person will get notified by LinkedIn. So he gets like a message from LinkedIn that somebody has mentioned you. Obviously, they're going to look where is the mention. And this causes that the majority of people will respond more sooner than if you don't mention them.
Yep.
So because of the notification, and you probably recognize this, I have seen a lot of like tagging spam going on.
Yeah.
Like, let's say a trainer who has, or any kind of professional who thinks he has written a really good post, he just published a post, tags like 30 people with the only reason, or the only reason behind this is that he wants the 30 people to engage, to spread the news. So it's only in his own interest. Now, my golden rule about tagging is you only tag people if it's in mutual interest or in their interest, but not in your interest only. Agreed. So if I have read an interesting article, or if I have seen your video and I think people should really watch this, then I go like interesting video of @AlexLowe. Yeah. And then you get mentioned, but I do this because it's your interest, because I'm sharing your piece of content. Yeah. Like now is happening. A lot of people are mentioning the research, and they are mentioning me. And if they mention me, I just give a like or say thanks for sharing, because it's of my interest. And I think it perfectly makes sense for LinkedIn to have a closer look in the people who use tags, have a look on if people are engaging by like commenting, or if people engaging negatively, like removing the mention. Yeah. And then let this impact the amount of views a post is getting.
I agree. I'm the same as you. Use it sparingly. I typically only use it with people I know, or I use it with I saw this and thought of you type sort of thing. You might find this this interesting. We touched on external links. So previously everyone felt that external links were a bad thing. Now we think external links, we've talked about, maybe not such a bad thing in terms of that dwell time.
Yeah, one of the things I would like to stress.
Yeah.
Please stop putting links in the first comment. If you would say what's your frustration number one of people behaving on LinkedIn, it's not about posting private stuff, because they want to like post private stuff. Go ahead. If I don't like it, I can unfollow you or whatever. But stop putting the links in the first comment. First, it looks ridiculous. Yeah. You make a post and you want to share a link, but you don't dare to share the link in the post. So then I think you do not trust about the quality of your content, because you're worrying that LinkedIn will, harm the spread of your content. Well, if you have a good piece of content, put the link in the post, because good content will get out. Yeah. And then second reason, if you get more comments, what a lot of people want, then your link will not be the first comment anymore. So now I need to, go and look and click on different comments to find the link. Third reason, if people are going to share your post, the first comment is not included. So they're going to share a post where it says, see the link in the first comment, and the link is not there. So
put the links in the post and be done with it.
Clear, yeah.
Fine, all good. We've talked about comments are key. So sharing is an interesting one. So I have actually noticed this. When you reshare a post, it doesn't seem to perform as well. And the problem, lots of marketing teams will encourage their employees to reshare the post from the company page, but actually they're better just to get the employees just to like or comment on that original post on the company page.
Yeah, because it's really an understatement that you say that sharing is not giving you the same result. It's about 8 to 10% at this moment. So if you would post like an identical post as you have in a company page, and let's say you will get 1,000 views, then if you would share the company page, you will not get over 100 views. The reason behind this is also very clear. As soon as you hit the share button, LinkedIn knows that you're going to share duplicate content. LinkedIn knows you're going to share content that has already been posted on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And imagine you have a company, you have 1,000 employees, and all the 1,000 employees are going to hit the share button. Then this would mean from somebody, like if you would be a trainer of this law company or account company, you probably are connected with, like say, hundreds of them.
Yeah.
And then it would mean that your time feed would be bombed by all the same posts. Yeah. So what they are doing, as soon as you hit the share button, they say, okay, you're going to share duplicate content, fine, but we are going to decrease severely the amount of views it's getting.
Yeah.
Now, we have done several tests, but what I'm now, in my session with marketing teams, I give the following advice. Ask them to comment, but not comment like, oh, great post, because this looks silly, but try to let them give some additional thoughts or try to give, maybe you say, for all the people in my network who are into law, this is a must read. You know, try to explain to people why there's interest or give some additional insights, add value in your comment. You know?
Yeah, completely right.
Or just give the people identical the post and the link and say them to post this on their own feed, in their own words, with the same call to action, with the same link, because then eventually the goal is the same. The only thing that will happen is that the conversion is on the individual profiles instead of on the company page.
Yeah.
And I don't know about your experience, but sometimes I'm with marketing departments on the one hand, sales departments on the other hand. And then whenever I see that, I see the distress in people's eyes because they say, no, we need to convert on a company page because we are getting rewarded by a company if we have conversion on our page, on our website.
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't give a word where the conversion is.
Well, exactly.
As long as there is conversion, I don't care if it's on the company page, on the website, on the individual page of the salespeople. I don't care. Yeah. As long as we have as long as we convert, that's the only goal.
Yeah, exactly. Completely.
So
completely
so either ask your employees to comment and add value, or just provide them with the same identical post, but let them create their own post on their own timeline.
Indeed. And in terms of the different types of content, I typically say mix it up. Consume different types of content, and some people like long form, some people short form videos. Text only, documents. Don't just try and focus on one thing. Just have a mix of all different. That's both the company page and also on the.
I agree. Definitely.
On the personal pages. I think I completely agree with you. Game changer in terms of articles. I get asked a lot about writing long form articles. I write long form articles. It's good from an SEO perspective, and it's good from just being there. But newsletters. I think this is going to be, I haven't got it yet. I subscribe to your newsletter. I haven't got newsletters yet. But so what do you think this will do for the people that choose to use it and use it wisely?
It depends. The first time I saw a newsletter was on, I don't know if you know him, on Richard Bliss, his profile. Yes. Richard Bliss is a US-based LinkedIn trainer, executive coach. And top voice 2019 in the US, and he was given newsletters, one of the first globally, and he has used it very well. He has now about 36,000 subscribers. Now, the good thing about a newsletter is that if I publish a new article that is part of the newsletter, LinkedIn will send individual notifications in LinkedIn, but also send a newsletter individual to the emails of all the people that have subscribed.
Double hit.
Yes. So imagine Richard Bliss, if he published a newsletter, 36,000 news of emails will be sent to all the people that have subscribed. So that's why I say this is a game changer. Okay. Yeah. However, a lot of people want to have a newsletter, obviously. I was one of the lucky ones, of the first ones in Holland or Spain, or I don't know how they do it, but I got it like 3 months ago. So I immediately hopped on, made a first newsletter, and I saw the impact. I'm now on 2,000 subscribers or something like that with 4 articles. but I can see already in the views my articles are getting that it's going up, because
right.
before the newsletter I had on average, I had 5 years ago on average I had like 8,000 views, 9,000 views. It dropped back to 500 views, nothing more, and now it goes up again to 3,000, 3,500 views. But I think if LinkedIn will give the possibility to write newsletters to all the members,
Well, that's what they're saying, right?
yes, it's game over again. It's game over, because then a lot of people, maybe they have the best intentions, but they're going to write shitty newsletters.
Well,
A lot of subscribers, you will have a lot of emails, so people will start unsubscribing, will start putting the notification on no, and then we're back again to the same as before. Writing articles doesn't make any sense from a view or engagement point of view. It does from an SEO point of view.
Yeah. And it's interesting because it all comes down to content, right? It all no matter what you're doing on whatever social media platform, if your content sucks, your content sucks, and it's not going to get the engagement. Notwithstanding some of the shit that you see that gets engagement because it's in a pod, it's being gamed and what have you. But for the mere lay person, it has to boil down to the content that you're engaging with. LinkedIn.
It goes the same for LinkedIn Live, Alex.
Yeah, well, thank you. I was going to come on to that because I was doing live in full lockdown through YouTube and actually getting bizarrely quite good engagement on my YouTube channel. Bearing in mind I've got bugger all subscribers. And then I got LinkedIn Live for LinkedIn Live, and the engagement is dire.
Yeah.
It's absolutely. So I kind of stopped doing it. I've just stopped doing it for a while because I'm like, I'm following other people who are, they've got good followers and you see them coming on. It's like 10 viewers or 5 viewers or.
It's very poor. It's very poor.
What's the point?
Yeah, I agree with you. I applied for LinkedIn Live like 1.5 years ago. Mind you, I'm not doing a lot of video, practically none. So this is one of the things I really start, getting into. I applied. I have seen some people in my network who do LinkedIn Live. I even watch some LinkedIn Lives, and not that I'm necessarily interested in what they were saying, but just to have a look on the engagement, what's happening here.
Yeah.
And within half a year, within 6 months, I saw the engagement going down.
Yeah.
I even put a notification that pops up on your screen that somebody's in LinkedIn Live. I put it off because it annoys me. I'm in LinkedIn, and then. But I think it has to do, again, with the quality of content where people are using LinkedIn Live for. If you start disturbing me with your LinkedIn Live video, it better be good. It better be, something that I want to see. And if you start pitching your services or doing irrelevant videos, then, I won't engage. I won't follow. And I think, but that's my personal view.
No,
that LinkedIn Live will not it will not do the job. It will not do the trick for you.
No, it hasn't got the same kind of immediacy as a Facebook Live or an Insta Live in terms of that. It's just not very good at the moment, which is insane when you think in terms of the organisation that owns them. And even when I was trying to schedule events and then drive LinkedIn Live to that event to actually make it rather than being interruptive, it's like, okay, here you can do this, and of course people still get the notification. I was like, what's the point in this? I'll just do this on YouTube. It's easier and cheaper because you have to buy software to do it. So with all of this, and from my perspective, we were chatting about this before we came on live as it were, is that from my perspective, I think it's important for people to understand what's happening behind the scenes and how everything works, but don't obsess on it. Because actually there is no silver bullets to social media, to social selling, to LinkedIn. It is about consistency, and it's about the quality of your content, supported by understanding what you can do mechanically to give you the best chance of reach and visibility. But it comes back down to content and being consistently present, because there's no point crafting a brilliant post that gets you, whatever you're trying to do, 1,000 views, 5,000 views, 10,000 views, 100,000 views once, and then you disappear for 4 weeks and then come back and do it again.
I totally agree with that. Totally.
Cool. Good. Thank you. I'm glad that you agree.
Imagine what would happen if I said, no, I don't agree with you.
Yeah, I'd be like, right, we're breaking up here, Richard.
No, I agree. But I had a chat yesterday. I had a chat with somebody else about the algorithm, and it's not my goal to be seen as Mr. Algorithm. Please not. And it's not a science, and it will change. But whenever I share this document with my clients, I don't say if you do this, then you will have success, because that's simply not true. But I say, imagine your marketing team creating this very brilliant piece of content, but they're just doing the wrapping wrong. They're doing the packaging wrong. And then LinkedIn will not pay you for the effort you have done, because you have put the external link in the comments, or you don't use hashtags, or you share at 3 o'clock in the night, and this will not work.
Yeah.
So it's about, as you stated, being consistent, create valuable content where people have, which provides added value, and then follow a bit of the rules, so you make sure that it will be spread and it will eventually reach your target audience. That's how the game should be played.
Indeed. And also, if you do a post and it doesn't go anywhere, don't stress. Do another one. And do another one. And then eventually you will figure out what works for you and your audience.
Exactly.
You talk about conversion, I talk about outcomes. At the end of the day, if what you're doing is generating business leads, generating the conversion that you want, the conversations that you want, just do more of that. That's the key. That's the key in all of this. There's no point, in my view, trying to get 100,000 views in a post that doesn't convert into anything. With how I look at it. So, where can people? I ask this question all the time, but for you this is ridiculous. Where can people find you? He's got those who aren't watching, he's got a big LinkedIn logo behind him.
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. There are actually 3 Richard van der Bloms, but if I've done my job well, I'll be the first one that will get mentioned. I still have a website. I don't bother to mention it, because actually I convert a lot of my clients on my LinkedIn profile, because there's where my proof is, there's where my references are. So just reach out on LinkedIn, and I'll get back to you.
Awesome. I'll put the link to your research on this vlog and this podcast as well for everybody to. So I'll just please everyone download it, read it. It is gold dust. It is massively useful. I put everything that Richard says into practice, and I'm constantly learning. Richard, it has been an absolute pleasure talking to you for the first time in person. I do not want this to be the last time, and also when we can get back on airplanes and come and see each other, I will definitely be buying you a drink of your choice. And to everybody else, thank you so much for tuning in. See you all next week. As ever, if there's anybody you want to be on this podcast, let me know. If you want to be on this podcast, let me know. Otherwise, have a good time wherever you are, and I'll see you on the flip side. Richard, awesome.
Thank you. Likewise.